Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptile, and today we're going to talk about freaks. What I mean by freaks is crossbreeds, freaks of nature, not supposed to exist, although they actually do exist in nature. Animals will crossbreed, so it's really not that freaky of a thing. And I wanted to show you, as we're going to talk about this, this is going to be a little bit, it's going to be a little bit Chris Hardwick-like, I'll be honest, because we have to pull a bunch of pictures and things. I'm not throwing Chris under the bus, he does a great job. I'm stealing it from you, buddy, because we don't have a lot of crossbreeds. So this is the only crossbred snake that I own. And you're probably saying, wait a minute, isn't that Kronos? It is Kronos. And you're saying, well, wait a minute, you always say Kronos is a jungle jaguar carpet python. He is a jungle jaguar carpet python. However, there's multiple species of carpet pythons to include jungle diamond people, I know. Is it a diamond python or a diamond? I'm going to get into that. Diamonds, coastals, Eryngias, and I know I'm missing a few. Cool thing, little known fact, oh, not a little known fact, your carpet people are well aware of it, but your non-carpet people may find this a little bit interesting, is the JAG gene, which is pronounced here in this snake, came from the coastal carpets. That means there's technically no such thing as a pure jungle jag, right? It has to have coastal blood in it, so some percentage, to produce that look, because that's where the gene came from. It may be as little as 0.5%, 0.1%, microscopic number, whatever, but it's got to be in there. It has to have some of that DNA. Just like if you run your DNA through one of those little websites that you swab your mouth or spit in a cup or put a swab up your asshole, however you do it, it may come back and tell you that you actually have a little bit of Neanderthal DNA. I don't know if I do or not. Some people say I do. My wife, both of them, will probably tell you I have some Neanderthal DNA in me. But the fact of the matter is, that's a crossbreed. So even humans are running around crossbred. So let's talk about a few different crossbreeds that you'll see and that we've seen. One thing you'll see that's way more evident than this is most crosses are 50-50. This is obviously not a 50-50. But you'll get into things like, you'll hear people refer to an angry ball, which is an Angolan ball python cross. We've actually filmed those before. Hang on there, bud. There you go. They cross pretty easy. They're pretty similar. So you can make Angolan ball pythons, or not Angolans, but you can make angry ball pythons. And an Angolan ball cross can actually breed. They're not infertile, so you can actually use them to make 75-25s and things like that. Another thing you can actually cross, although it's kind of mind-boggling, is a Burmese python and a ball python. Now, when you do this, you're going to want to use the sexes a certain way. Female snakes tend to be bigger, not in all species, but in most of your constrictors. So you're going to want a female burm and a male ball. Because if you use a female ball and a male burm, she's probably going to split. She probably won't be able to pass those eggs. You're going to have a lot of problems with that. Do not stick your tail in one of my belt loops. Thank you. And so one of those things to definitely consider. So it is important that you pick the female as the larger of the two and the male as the smaller of the two when you have that big of a size disparity. And you'll also get more eggs that way anyway, which is better for production. So you'll have your burn balls. You can cross them. You can also do blood python, ball python crosses, blood balls. You can do a lot of stuff in the venomous realm with your gabinos, which is your gaboon rhino viper cross. I've seen rattlesnakes crossed, like westerns and timbers crossed. So there are a lot of crosses out there. But this begs a different question. Should we be doing this? Well, I'm holding a crossbreed, so my answer might surprise you a little bit. It's kind of a yes and no. I mean, on a smaller market setup, like with these carpet pythons, it's been done so much now that there's very few truly pure animals out there. So, you know what, I say, as long as you're not misrepresenting the animal for what it is, then, if you're representing an animal as a pure jungle, you better be able to prove it's pure jungle. But if you're represented as a jungle carpet python and somebody's like, oh, is it pure blood? I don't know. Then I think you're fine. So I'm okay with that, but it does definitely change the value of the animal. So there is that. Now with like burn balls and blood balls, personally, I'm not a big fan. I just don't see a huge market for it. So I think it begs a question as to why. But again, I'm sure there are people out there that love them, that sell them, that make them, and hey man, you do you. I don't have anything against it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's wrong to do or a horrible idea or a bad thing. I just, not my cup of tea. I don't think they look really any better, and I don't really see the point. Now, when it comes to venomous snakes, I do see a point there. especially when it comes to your gabinos. I think gabinos are a very, very pretty animal. They make a really nice looking snake in a collection. You know, I mean, and one of the things too is they're one of those things that I do believe could theoretically come across each other in the wild on occasion. And when you have animals that cross in the wild, I think it's a more natural crossing than animals that would not. So, you know, like your Angolans and your balls, I don't know if they actually cross in the wild. But I do believe that your rhinos and your gaboons have before, although rarely. I know your carpets have crossed in the wilds, your diamonds to carpets have crossed in the wild. So this would be a naturally occurring cross minus the jag gene. So I feel a little bit more palatable with that. I know, right? This guy's so sweet. I love this snake. So there is that. You got my arm. Okay, it's your arm. I get it. So that's kind of my standpoint on it. From a breeding standpoint, if you do it, I think you should do it because it's an animal you want. I don't think you should be doing it as a matter of, I heard that, well, I'm going to commercial release in the market all the time when it comes to your burn balls or your blood balls. I think you'll be disappointed is why, and you're going to have a hard time moving them. When it comes to venomous stuff, the market's so small anyway. I think you will not have a hard time or any harder time moving gabinos than you would gaboons. And with carpets, I don't think you're going to have a hard time at all as long as it's represented properly. I will say this with the carpet community, I know we have some carpet people that watch on occasion. If you take and you misrepresent your carpet pythons as to what they are, and somebody finds out or knows, that community will bust your ass on it. You will ruin any chance you had sales-wise or whatnot. There are some very main purists in the carpet python community that don't even like to think of anything being crossed with all the 100% pure lines. But even though they may not much care for it, they're okay as long as people aren't misrepresenting things. But when somebody starts saying, oh yeah, my animal's pure, when in actuality it's not, they get upset, and I understand, because if they are working a pure line that they've worked and worked and worked, it kind of is an affront to their business, right? It's like if you produce a high-end beef, and I'm over here selling some grade D shit out of the back of my pickup truck, but I'm saying it's, Wagyu, you'd be pissed, right? It's the same kind of thing there. Not that this is grade D stuff, but you get my point. Kurt, anything you want to add?
Are we going to get a rhino viper?
Oh, that's an excellent question. So yes, eventually I do want to add a rhino viper, and I do want to work on the cross for gabinos. Now again, you're like, well, you said it's probably a good market. It's not, but I think gabinos are nice because you're not going to have those that frequently, and I don't want to have like a mass production of them. I'd like to maybe just work on one clutch of them, or one brood, I guess I should say, since it's not eggs. And I'd like to keep a gabino. I think it'd be really awesome. So I do want to work on that, and I would like to let some go in the market, not in Florida. Don't worry, Florida, we're not going to let them go in the Everglades, but I would like to let some of those go in the market. I think it'd be just kind of a fun little project. And that's mostly why I'm doing it, for fun. I wouldn't consider doing that on a massive commercial scale because I don't think it's a very good idea. Anything else, Kurt?
No.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.